President DeGioia, distinguished guests, members of the faculty, members of the graduating class, ladies and gentlemen, Georgetown University warmly welcomes all Hoyas and their families and friends to the 2016 commencement exercises for the Edmund A. Walsh School of Foreign Service. Please, if I could ask everyone to stand for the national anthem, which will be led by members of the Georgetown University Concert Choir and Chamber Singers under the direction of Professor Frederick Binkholder.
Go!
The invocation will now be offered by Imam Yahya Hendi, the Director for Muslim Life. If I could please ask you to continue standing.
Before I pray, I just want to say, yes, I am a Muslim. About to start my prayer in Hebrew and Arabic at a Catholic university. Go and wonder. We do that at Georgetown because we believe that, yes, we can, and that we are all Hoyas. Let us pray. In Hebrew, Baruch Hashem, Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. In Arabic, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. In English, blessed is the name of God, the Lord of the universe, God of all creation, Almighty God of salvation, living God of justice and of compassion. We call upon your holy name to bless Georgetown University School of Foreign Service class of 2016 and to bless all the nations of the world. Living God, repair our souls so that we may echo the voice of reason, wisdom, and sanity in our country and all over the world. All the while with the unwavering respect for all human rights and commitment to security for all people. God, for the sake of those children dying out of pain, for the sake of mothers crying out of despair, and for the sake of those seeking a dignified home to claim for themselves and their families, and for the sake of the earth suffering out of destruction. Make this a new stage in the lives of our graduates with full commitment to humanity and to the earth. With sincere hearts, we ask that you inspire our leaders of the future with the ability to love unconditionally, to serve passionately, and to become a voice of truth and justice vigorously. God, restore their faith in you so that they may become and continue to be agents of goodness, harmony, peace, optimism, and tranquility around the world. God, we pray for a new path of reconciliation between all races, all religions, all the nations, and all orientations. May we turn down the walls of separation and put up bridges of unity and love. May those who drink from the well of hatred come to taste the waters of harmony. God, inspire these graduating leaders with the ability to turn fears to love, to inspire us to break the swords of war, to put off the fires of hate, and to march together in the gardens of kindness, justice, and liberty. We praise you, O God, Al-Hayyu Al-Qayyumu Al-Latifu Al-Wadud, O living God, O giving, O loving, O kind, O Holy One. With one united voice, let us all say Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Please be seated. We now ask Dr. Randall Bass, Vice Provost for Education and Professor in the Department of English, to deliver the official welcome.
Thank you, Dean Hellman. Good afternoon. If it's any consolation, you guys have by far the best weather of any ceremony today. In a completely unrelated statement, of all of the undergraduate schools and students I've been with today, you guys are by far the brightest. It is my pleasure to welcome our guests to this commencement ceremony for the School of Foreign Service. I do so on behalf of our provost, Dr. Robert Groves, whose own son is graduating elsewhere this weekend. And I do so on behalf of the entire academic community of Georgetown, faculty, administrators, staff, and in behalf of these students seated before me who will momentarily become our newest graduates. As Vice Provost for Education, I have been privileged to help lead our efforts to continuously strengthen what we're trying to do here. Like the School of Foreign Service, we're trying to imagine a future for Georgetown built upon and equal to its past, a future that can meet the challenge of delivering not just the best possible education, but a distinctively Georgetown education, both undergraduate and graduate, in a very complicated and swiftly changing world. But standing here on a day like today, and over the past couple days, looking out at all of you, it is actually quite a poignant reminder that in fact we are shaping and creating the future every day, every year in our interactions with you, a future embodied in you. And the people who are deeply involved in shaping that future are the extraordinary faculty colleagues seated behind me, who take so seriously both the educational and the research missions of the university, not only to inform our students intellectually, but to form them as people of character and ethical judgment, and as committed practitioners, to whom we can safely entrust not only Georgetown's future, but indeed the future of the world. To you, our guests, and especially to the families and support networks of our students, we acknowledge with deep thanks for the role that you have played in helping these students get to the finish line. For all of you, it was a marathon. For some of you, you managed to make it both a marathon and a sprint. But no one's success or accomplishments are theirs alone. So, thank you. We also acknowledge with thanks the magnitude of the responsibility which you have entrusted us. And I don't say this just as Vice Provost, but as a parent whose son will graduate next Saturday from a different college. I know what it means to trust your child to an institution. Sadly, I also know what it means to trust your child to a different institution when he could have gone to Georgetown for free. Did I mention it would have been free? We have worked hard to be worthy of your trust so that we can say today with considerable pride that we watch along with you as your sons and daughters move on to the next phase of their lives, their early promise fulfilled, and the promise of a life of purpose ready to unfold. So we are happy to celebrate with you this glorious, sunny, beautiful day. It's sunny in here. Filled with nostalgia for what is about to end and with excitement for what is about to commence. So to our guests, welcome. And to our graduates, welcome home.
Thank you, Vice Provost Bass. Our founder, the Most Reverend John Carroll, first Archbishop of Baltimore and first Catholic bishop in the United States, took legal possession of land on our hilltop in 1789, and we mark that as our founding date. Our first student, the future North Carolina Congressman William Gaston, arrived in 1791, and our first bachelor degrees were not awarded until 1817. It was in 1815 that, with enrollments passing the 100 mark, our president, Father John Grassi of the Society of Jesus, asked then Congressman Gaston to present a petition for a federal charter, a document that still today sanctions the academic business we do here. It is our custom to initiate academic ceremonies with a reading of that charter. And to discharge that office, I am pleased to introduce Mr. Edward M. Quinn, Secretary of the University.
An act concerning the College of Georgetown in the District of Columbia. Be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled, that it shall and may be lawful for such persons as now are, or from time to time may be, the President and Directors of the College of Georgetown within the District of Columbia, to admit any of the students belonging to said college or other persons meriting academical honors to any degree in the faculties, arts, sciences, and liberal professions to which persons are usually admitted in other colleges and universities of the United States, and to issue in an appropriate form the diplomas or certificates which may be requisite to testify to the admission of such degree. Signed, Langdon Shivas, Speaker of the House of Representatives, John Gaillard, President pro tempore of the Senate. Approved March 1st, 1815, James Madison.
Thank you. Dr. Charles King, Professor of International Affairs and Government, will read the citation for the honorary degree.
In a free society, public security must always be subordinate to the right of citizens to live private lives unmolested by the state. Today, Georgetown University recognizes a man who has spent his professional life policing this vital boundary. Jeh Johnson's work as a litigator, law enforcement official, and senior policymaker has been defined by the desire to pry open government to the governed. As Secretary of Homeland Security in the administration of President Barack Obama, he has sought creative ways of securing the life and liberty of America's citizens against the signature dangers of our time. Secretary Johnson received his undergraduate degree from Morehouse College and earned a law degree at Columbia University Law School. He began his legal career as Assistant U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, before being named General Counsel to the U.S. Air Force and later General Counsel to the U.S. Department of Defense. In that role, Secretary Johnson helped transform policies that had guided U.S. actions since the end of the Cold War and the attacks of September 11th. He oversaw the rebuilding of the legal architecture of detention and surveillance. He reformed the military commission system used for detainees at Guantanamo Bay. He co-authored the government report that paved the way for the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, which lifted the long-standing policy of asking women and men in uniform, in the words of President Obama, to live a lie or look over their shoulder. When he was sworn in as the fourth Secretary of Homeland Security in December 2013, Secretary Johnson was quickly confronted by a rolling series of international crises that had deep implications for both security and human rights. A new wave of migrants began to cross the US-Mexico border, many of them children. The outbreak of the Ebola epidemic in West Africa placed a premium on monitoring travel to and from disease-affected areas. In Washington, political debate over undocumented individuals resulted in a series of presidential executive actions that shifted US policy away from the criminalization of migrants and created pathways to integration. Secretary Johnson highlighted his own approach to these issues in a 2015 speech given at the same location as Winston Churchill's famous Iron Curtain address of 1946. Quote, "We can erect more walls, install more screening devices, and make everybody suspicious of each other," Secretary Johnson said, "but we should not do so at the cost of who we are as a nation, of people who cherish our privacy, our religions, our freedom to speak, travel, and associate, and who celebrate our diversity and our immigrant heritage. In the final analysis, these are the things that constitute our greatest strengths as a nation," he said. In recognition of his commitment to government of, by, and for the people, to security wrapped in the mantle of privacy, and to human rights as the bedrock of a free and civilized society, Georgetown is pleased to bestow upon Secretary Jeh Johnson the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters honoris causa.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Congress of the United States and by the Board of Directors of Georgetown University, I officially confer upon Secretary Jeh Johnson the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. And it's now my pleasure to present Secretary Jeh Johnson, who will offer the commencement address.
Mr. President, Dean, faculty, administrators, graduates, and your families, thank you very much for the honor you bestow on me today and for the opportunity to be your commencement speaker. There are Hoyas in my family. My wife is a graduate of Georgetown Dental School, class of 1986. Mr. President, To those of you who are our international guests, welcome to our wonderful and sometimes noisy democracy. We live in a wonderful country. When I was first asked to speak here at the School of Foreign Service, I turned to my international affairs team. I asked them to help me develop a speech about the increasing internationalization of Homeland Security and to convey, in this age of the foreign terrorist fighter, the increasing need for diplomacy as a component of our Homeland Security. By working with other nations to secure their borders from foreign terrorist travel, we secure our own homeland. In the meantime, as you just saw, there has been the controversy that has arisen on this campus as a result of the invitation to me to be your commencement speaker. After meeting with students on Monday, I decided to scrap the prior approach and address the immediate issue that you saw head on. In the process, I believe I can deliver on the request to talk about the manner in which today's government leaders grapple with difficult issues of national and homeland security. These remarks were written by me and me alone. First, to the students and alumni who would object to me and our immigration policy, I admire your energy and passion. I hope you continue in your cause. Your level of activism and commitment is something I encourage in my own college-age children. In this country, you have an important role. Your views matter, and they contribute to the policymaking of our government. And do not become disheartened if others oppose you. It is true that I head the department of our government that is responsible for the administration and enforcement of our immigration laws. I shall not shrink from that. When I took this job, I accepted an obligation to enforce the law consistent with the enforcement priorities of President Obama's administration. What does that mean? Let's take a closer look. 2 years ago, President Obama directed me to revise our immigration enforcement policies to make them more humane and fair. And in November 2014, we announced new policies that more clearly prioritize public safety and border security. In fact, therefore, fewer people are now deported from this country, and a higher percentage of them are within our priorities for removal and are convicted criminals. In fact, President Obama and I want to expand upon his Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals policy, also called DACA, and make others eligible for deferred action. Adults who've been here for 5 years, have kids who are citizens or lawful permanent residents, have committed no serious crime, and who submit to a background check. This is the new DAPA policy the President and I announced in November 2014. This effort is in the Supreme Court right now, and we are fighting to defend it. At the same time, we must enforce the law consistent with our priorities for enforcement. If someone who is a priority for removal has received a final order of removal, has no pending appeal, and is not qualified for asylum or other humanitarian relief under our laws, we must repatriate them. There are many who strongly disagree with this, but we are a nation with borders, and these borders cannot be open to illegal migration. Is sending a man, woman, or child back to the very situation they fled pleasant? No. As government officials and leaders, we do try to do the right thing. Doing the right thing can be complicated. In government decision-making and policy-making, doing the right thing is rarely simple, pure, or perfect. It's rarely one-dimensional or even two-dimensional. It's often multi-dimensional, and one of those dimensions can be your personal convictions. In 29 months in this office, I've spent hours meeting and talking with hundreds of children in Border Patrol processing centers on our southern border, in a refugee camp in Turkey, and just yesterday and the day before in resettlement centers in El Salvador and Honduras. I don't mind telling you that it has brought me to tears. As a father and a Christian, I personally want to scoop up all these kids and take them home with me. But we cannot formulate government policy based solely on my personal reaction to a painful situation. President Obama said something similar in his own commencement address at Howard 2 weeks ago. Government decision-making and policy-making involve compromise, a compromise between and among different considerations. In foreign service, there will be times when you will be asked to form alliances with governments with a less than perfect human rights record. In foreign service, there will be times when you must sit down with a government or organization that is actively working to undermine U.S. interest. In national security, there will be times when we must send good young men and women into harm's way. In national security, there will be times when we must authorize military force in circumstances where innocent people may die. In 2010, then Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Mike Mullen, announced publicly his personal opposition to the Don't Ask, Don't Tell law that prohibited gays from serving openly in our military. Admiral Mullen stated his opposition as a matter of integrity, theirs and ours. As a matter of integrity, he could no longer ask other service members to lie about who they are. Many agreed and insisted that we immediately suspend separations under what they believed was an unjust and unconstitutional law. But Admiral Mullen and the Secretary of Defense at the time, Robert Gates, who were stewards of a military force of about 2 million people, knew there were larger considerations. They commissioned a 10-month study of this issue in which we surveyed 400,000 service members. At the end, by this deliberate, thorough approach, we convinced the military community and skeptics in Congress that we could repeal that law. That repeal went even smoother than we predicted and contributed, I believe, to the shift in public opinion that followed toward LGBT rights and gay marriage. The greatest moral leader of modern times in this country, my Morehouse brother, Martin Luther King, had to at times compromise his own principles and disappoint his supporters. Many of you know about Bloody Sunday on the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama on March 7, 1965. Many of you know about the successful Selma to Montgomery March for voting rights that began 2 weeks later on March 21, 1965. Far fewer know about the aborted March Between on what is referred to as Turnaround Tuesday. In reaction to the televised beatings of civil rights marchers by police on Bloody Sunday, many energized civil rights advocates rushed to Selma to take up the cause and resume the march. Led by Dr. King, they were prepared to face the same beatings their comrades had suffered 2 days before. Inexplicably to his followers, Dr. King led them across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, knelt in prayer before the line of police, and then led the marchers in a U-turn back across the bridge. Many of the marchers were prepared to put their bodies on the line, were furious at Dr. King, and felt tricked and betrayed by him. But Dr. King had quietly concluded that he did not want to violate a federal temporary restraining order and alienate the judge who had issued it, who Dr. King believed would eventually see it their way. In retrospect, Martin Luther King was right. Judge Frank Johnson lifted the temporary restraining order, which paved the way for the now famous Selma to Montgomery March, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and a more perfect union. Even closer to home for me is the story of a man who who died 60 years ago named Charles S. Johnson. Dr. Johnson was a sociologist and president of Fisk University, a black college in Nashville, Tennessee. In 1950, Fisk needed a good mathematician on its faculty, and Dr. Johnson hired a gifted teacher named Lee Lorch. Lorch was white and a committed civil rights activist who was willing to teach at a black college. Lorch was also suspected of being a communist. For years during the height of the McCarthy era, Johnson stood by Lorch. It was a matter of principle. Johnson was even suspected of being a communist himself. Testifying before federal and state legislative un-American activities committees, Johnson, a World War I veteran with honorary degrees from Harvard and Columbia, publicly denied he was a member of the Communist Party. Johnson also said publicly what he thought about these investigations, that they were witch hunts and much more un-American than the un-American activities being pursued. But after years of defending Lorch, in 1955, Johnson had to set aside his principles and terminate Lorch's contract to protect Fisk University, its reputation, its financial standing, and its future. For my grandfather, this was an agonizing decision that we never talk about in my family, the stress of which, according to a good friend, contributed to my grandfather's fatal heart attack in 1965 at the age of 63. But today, 60 years later, among many small black colleges that struggle to survive, Fisk continues to exist, financed in very large part by a $100 million art collection assembled by my grandfather for the school while he was president. When an action we are called to take offends our personal convictions, we can resign, but abandoning your responsibility only passes the burden to someone else, and possibly someone less thoughtful, less sensitive, and more callous. Resignation relieves you of your personal dilemma, makes a forceful statement, but may not be good for the country or a lot of people who depend on you as their leader. This is a burden you must be prepared to accept in public service and as a leader. Sometimes our options are plenty. Sometimes our options are limited and lousy. But at all times we try our best to find the best solution and do the right thing. In a democracy, we are then judged by the voters who elect us or elect the person to whom we are accountable. Ultimately, we are judged in the pages of history and by our God. There are graduates here who have stated publicly that they do not want to shake my hand. That is your right and your privilege. I am willing to extend my hand to every one of you. In our democracy, the people do not owe their government leaders any form of reverence. If anything, it's the other way around. We are public servants. We work for you. A year ago, I met a man named Kamal. Kamal is from Syria. Kamal and his family have been granted refugee status in this country and now live in Texas. Kamal says that while living in Syria, he was persecuted and put in military detention, where he was sexually assaulted, subject to electric shocks, and had his kidney removed without his consent. When I met Kamal, he said to me, "My regime tortured me." I said to Kamal, "Welcome to the United States. I am your new regime, and no one here is going to torture you." I then shook his hand and gave him a hug. To this graduating class from the Georgetown School of Foreign Service, I have not said much about the foreign aspect of foreign service, but I do hope I've conveyed to you what it means to be in service, service to others, service to the public. I've also talked a lot about the burden and responsibility of service, but the truth is, I love what I do. For most of my career, I've been a corporate lawyer. For less than a third of my career, I've been in public service. Though I now make less than a first-year associate at the corporate law firm where I was previously a partner, my public service has been the most consequential and gratifying part of my professional life. I expect to go back to private law practice soon, but no matter how many cases or clients I win in private practice, I know the first paragraph of my obituary will be my public service. Public service is about helping others, and within almost all of us as human beings is the basic desire to do good and help others. When you leave here, many of you will acquire the burden of student loan debt, a mortgage, and a financial responsibility to yourself and your family. My hope for all of you, as you proceed today on your journey from here, is that you never lose the spark that motivated you to come to this school in the first place. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. We shall now have the presentation of the degree candidates. For those students who were at the Trupaya ceremony yesterday and saw how I mangled the name of one of our poor students, we are asking the Honorable Ambassador Andrew Steigman to take a better shot at it, who will call the names of the candidates. Ambassador Steigman.
At the direction of the ushers, the degree candidates will now come forward by rows to receive their diploma translations from Dean Hellman, assisted by Dean Kaneda. Then they will be hooded by Dean Samuel Aronson, Lisa Gordonier, Minnie Murphy, Anthony Perotti, Polly Roby, Anna Steinhelper, and Emily Zenick. The first person to be called on stage is the 2016 class marshal, and then the members of the graduating class will be called in alphabetical order. Please hold your applause until everyone has been recognized. And we begin with Rahul Hari Kaul, the class marshal. Please hold your applause. Thank you. Joan Elizabeth Abbott, Hussein Abdullah, Rohan Advani, Minali Agarwal, Senju An, Annie Marie Alaman, Leah Kestra Alex, Christopher J. Allen, Leigh Megan Allison, Nicolas Alonso Muñana, Ibrahim Abdulaziz Al-Raji, Ana Elena Alvarez, Megan Anand, Zongshen Eugene Ung, Nicole Arellano, Ava Jean Arroyo, Madison Elizabeth Ashley, Blake Atherton, Alejandra Baez, Priyanka Bagradia, Tiana Baheri, Jessica Baker, William Austin Baker, Christian Andrew Bakken, Shasha Bao, Alexander David Barnes, Felicia Belostechnik, William Bennett, Nora Burke, Nicole Bez, Michael Bilirakis, Isabel Sophia Blakeway Phillips, Dylan Grover Blanchard, Jod Brumenzak, Allison Brady, Emilia Maria Brahm, Desiree Brito, Benjamin Brooks, Emily Mabel Brown, Kelsey Leanne Brown, Austin J. Berry, Zachary Nicholas Bush, Stuart Angus Nelson Campbell, Thomas Campbell, Ellie Elizabeth Campton, Laura Caro Ruiz, Kevin Carter, Ming Ching Chai, Nora Chama, Sarah Chirazi, Jenny Chen, Kevin Chi-Yong Chen, Li Shun Chen, Michelle Chen, Charlotte Kayan Palmer-Cherry, Nicholas Choa, Judy Choi, Jean Choi, Holden Choi, Felicia Hui Ting Chu, Jasmine Chu, Sherry Chung, Sang Chung, Kendall Ashley Clausen, Cale Allen Klingenpeel, William Collins, Abigail Marie Cooner, Kiran Correa, Elizabeth Grace Kosha, Christopher Coughlin, Spencer Nicholas Crawford, Edward Cullen, Alexandra Hollingsworth Daniels, Sharmila Das, Maya C. Davenport, Evan K. Davis, Laura Amelia DeGeorgis, Martin de Leon, Matthew Sebastian de Silva, Rio Pratama Jiwandana, Zoe Dobkin, Jonathan Drumgoole, Kelsey Elizabeth Dwyer, William Chang Edmond, Andrew Elam, Dashnamjil Enkbayar, Jackson Mitchell Erpenbach, Derek Andrew Faraldo, Yasmin Faruqi, Grace A. Fenton, Jeremiah Francis Feliciano Fernandez, Morgan Ford, Marco Fornara, Kellyanne Foy, Michael H. French, Andrew Frank, Elizabeth Marguerite Fries, Brian Fritchie, Chloe Collum Frost, Charles J. Fulbright, Tancred Paul-Marie Fulconis, Maximilian Funke. Nitzan Eliyahu Gabay. James Eric Gadea. George Gage. Cindy Gao. Brody Michael Garrity. Nora Elena Genster. Hannah Stang Gerdes. Dominic Gibbons. Samantha Gilmore. Robin Go. Serena Julia Gobi. Anna Alexandra Goldberg. Scott Lawrence Goldstein. Francisco Azeas Gonzalez. Javier Gonzalez. Abigail Charlton Grace. Daniel Alexander Graff. Denise Alejandra Graham. Harry William Green. Josh Griffith. Andrea Guerrero. Naomi Guillaume. Isha Gulati. Jason Gusdorf. Silvana Stephanie Gutierrez. Maria Hamducci. Eric Hahn. Mary Hanley. Kira Hanlon. Samuel Hanslitz. Scott Harrington. Maxfield Hayes. Brian Hecht. William Heine. Anna Colette Heldring. Rebecca Elizabeth Heller. Anna Teresa Hernick. Allison Mitchell Heyman. Anna F. Hill. Michelle Hill. Caroline K. Heiner. Catherine Rose Cafaso Hopkins. Simi Huang. Yan Pei Huang. Carmen Satia Hundley. Penny Hung. Tyler Knight Hunt Smith. Asyad S. Hussein. Norma Hutchinson. Emma Yanini. Sona Jane. Elijah David Lizelle Jatovsky. Ryan Michael Jeffrey. Gayung Jong. Antra Saikat Jordar. Christine Marie Kalpin. Nernwan Kargu. Zachary Joseph Kay. Danielle Kanan. Allison Kim. Arya Kim. Caroline Songun Kim. Donald J. Kim. Iris Nanhee Kim. Sarah Kim. David Clausen. Courtney Klein. Savannah Ushi Kohinke. Na Ejele Komemensa. Madison Sloan Kaminsky. Emily Kong. Chloe Krofchek. Laura Kurek. Nico Javier Lake. Kitty Lan. Montana Landegger. Joseph Francis Lanzilla. Eve LaRoche Carter. Cheryl Ji Ying Lau. Stephen Loafer. Trellis Marie Larimore. Sophia Layanto. Chang Lee. Edward Lee. Ho Jun Lee. Katie Lee. Aaron Sorini Leonard. Jijiao Lee. Hyungbin Daniel Lim. Patrick Lim. Jeffrey Lin. James Lin. Maria Leonard Calvo. Edwin Lopez. Johnny Altagracia Lopez. Charles Ryan Lowe. Andrew Liu. Samantha Brooke McFarland. Michael Machado. Max Joseph Megerman. Kimberly O. Maima. Niladri Mandel. Peter B. Mangan. Preston Marquis. Maurice Darnell McCauley. Andrew McCoy. Dylan McDermott. James Michael McDermott. Annalise Mary McGrail. Michael McGrath. Lauren Emma McManus. Christopher T. McNulty. Jesse Meyer. Jorge Alfredo Melgar. Maxwell Alexander Menard. Nicholas Ryan Mendolia. Jenna Rose Merzus Clark. Kevin Andrew Muir. Christina Sofia Michalizzi. Taylor Loren Melnicki. Lauren Gray Miller. Michael Mishke. Injin Mo. Jack Stephen Moore. Josephine Cara May Moore. Diana Morales Gomez. Molly Morales. Caleb Matthew Morrill. Camila Moscoso. William V. Muran. Emma Marie Murphy. Michaela Eileen Murphy. Allison Elaine Nagel, Julia Shireen Najafi, Kyle Nazer, Innocent C. Induisi Obi, Eric Chen Nawalski, Casey Lin Ng, Sebastian Nichols, Emily Muir Nicol, Catherine Norris, James Cheng O'Leary, Alice Oliveira Sons, Anna Elizabeth O'Neill, Eleni Nicole Owen, Oyetola Adefi Oyeyemi, Katrina Ann Pagney, Carla Rita Palma, Denisa Aurelia Pandrea, Emily Michelle Perigamian, Samuel Henry Patterson, Samuel Cawley Pence, Edward P. Percarpio, Nicolas Perez, Taryn Cutler Peterson, Nicholas Snow Phelan, Emma M. Phillips, Bella Suzanne Pigeon, Carl Richard Pielmeyer, Milos Popovich, Matthew Pressman, Elizabeth Russell Pryor, Matthew Chauvin Quallen, Joshua Ryan Raftis, Bardia Ramani, Sriram Ramesh, Arman Surya Ramnath, Celine Rangel, Christina Lynn Ravensbergen, Thomas George Reed, Kyle Robert Rice, Alistair Riviere, Antonia Joy Robertson, Ivan Abernethy Robinson, Jake Robinson, Rachel Spielman Rogers, Kristen Ronzi, Bonibel Rosario, Corso Rosati, Rachel Rue, Imara Salas, Aditya Salgame, Daniel Sandoval, Maria Gracia Santa Cruz, Lorena Santiago Hernandez, Nicholas V. Sardi, Jessie Grace Sarkis, Colin Andrew Sawyer, Celia Charlene Sawyer, Elena Trehan Saxena, Etan J. Sayag, Catherine Sievers, Kyungchol Kevin Seo, Jaisal Ahmed Shah, Vikram Shah, Nishat Sheikh, Keith Schaller, Siddharth Sharma, Jeff Shea, Elaine Shen, Tomoyuki Shikata, Youngsik Shin, Erin Marie Seeloff, Josie Lynn Sinagoga, Kristen Ann Skillman, Michael Slawinski. Natalie Nicole Smith. Hayun Son. Rian Soroush. Jacob Lawrence Sorels. Vivian Fraga Spies. Helen Sprainer. Pierre Christopher Steenblick. Mark Stern. Abigail Elizabeth Stewart. Matthew Tyler Strauss. Patricia Michelle Stupp. Connor Swank. Caroline Moody Zacketts. Andrew David Tabus. Jay Tirokar. Christopher Tramposh. Naman Trivedi. Nicole Susan Tronolone. Jeff Tso. Mespa Udin. Emily King Erhammer. Ajar Hassan Unwala. Jessica Marie Oy. Aniruddha Vadadi. Connor Valek. Shamara Valdez Rubio. Felix Cornelis Vandervaart. Emma Kelly Vandervoort. Russell A. Vanoy. Reno Varghese. Sharanka Venkatraman. Catherine Perry Viles. Rachel Lindsay Lim Villanueva. Shweta Wahal. Andrew Walker. Crystal Nicole Walker. Nick Walker. Thomas Brandon Walsh. Eva Wang. Molly Rame Wartenberg. Kurt Matthew Wasserman. Daniel J. Watson. Caleb Angus Weaver. Elizabeth Wei. Pingsheng Wei. John Clayton Welty. Violet Omalade Wei. Cole Williams. Troy D. Williams. Taylor Willis. Lucas Wimmer. Samuel Perry Wolter. Daniel M.R. Woods. Simon J. Wu. Chao Shu. Ann Yang. Sydney Elizabeth Young. Rochelle Nicole Zender. Eric Alexander Zamali. Mary Ann Zhao. Basel Zikri. Jenny Zhu.
Degree candidates, can you please stand? President DeGioia, I have the honor to present to you the candidates just named for the Bachelor of Science in Foreign Service. These students have been duly examined and recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Directors. I therefore ask that you bestow on them the degree in course.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Congress of the United States and by the Board of Directors of Georgetown University, I officially confer upon these candidates the degree of Bachelor of Science in Foreign Service. Congratulations.
Members of the class of 2016, you richly deserve the congratulations you have just received. You have all worked hard and achieved much during your years at Georgetown. But none of you, however, have managed to do this on your own. You've benefited from the knowledge and wisdom of your professors, the guidance of your deans, and you have been supported by family and friends. Now it's time, graduates, to turn around, please, and applaud the people who helped you get to where you are today. Please be seated. President DeGioia will now offer us some closing reflections.
Well, thank you very much, Dean Hellman, and thank you for your outstanding leadership of Georgetown's School of Foreign Service over the course of this, your first year as our dean. To our commencement speaker this evening, Secretary Johnson, thank you for sharing your insights and your perspectives with us today and for engaging our community in the days leading up to today's ceremony. We're deeply grateful for the respect and consideration that you've provided to our community, and we're very grateful for your very thoughtful reflections this evening. To our graduates and to our families, to each member of our community present this evening, thank you all for being here for this very special occasion in the lives of our students. It's a great privilege to be here with all of you this evening to share in this moment, this celebration of our graduates of the class of 2016. A word of gratitude to your families for the trust that they placed in us, for your education, and for your formation as young women and men, now ready for the responsibilities of global citizenship and your chosen professional and academic endeavors. Thank you to the extraordinary faculty here today for their deep care and commitment to teaching and to mentorship, to scholarship, and to the vibrancy of this university community. To our staff, thank you for your many contributions every day that have made this day possible. And finally, to our graduates, to the women and men before me, congratulations. All of your hard work, the challenges you have encountered, your triumphs, your service, your achievements, everything that you've done at Georgetown has brought you to this moment, to this day. Not that long ago, in this very place, you joined our community. You came to us from around the world. You came to us with singular talents, individual perspectives, unique backgrounds. You came to us seeking to learn and to expand your horizons. And you came here to Georgetown, a place where people, ideas, and values converge. Today we mark this journey, the experiences that you have shared, the knowledge you have gained, which have brought you to this moment. In your time as students, we have sought to provide a context for your formation. By formation, we mean the work of supporting each of you as you seek to become your most authentic self, providing you with the conditions that will enable you to flourish, to realize your full promise. It is our hope that during your time here, as you've engaged in this work of formation, you've come to better know yourself and what matters most to you, how you best connect to others and to our world, to know your most authentic, your deepest and truest aspects of your identity, the person that you are and that you are meant to be. Formation is a journey of discovery, a journey of understanding, a journey of seeking out that which each of us can uniquely contribute to our world, a journey of deepening our faith, of understanding the commitments that we have to one another. This idea of journey, another word, pilgrimage, has a deep resonance within our tradition. St. Ignatius described himself as a pilgrim. And Pope Francis, in announcing what he has called this extraordinary Jubilee Year of Mercy, taking place this year, a year in which he asks each of us and all of us to identify works of mercy that can animate our lives. He reminds us that a pilgrimage is a way of life, a way of being. He writes, the practice of pilgrimage has a special place in this holy year because it represents the journey each of us makes in this life. Life itself is a pilgrimage, and the human being is a pilgrim, traveling along the road, making her or his way to the desired destination. During your time on campus, you've come to know, to use Pope Francis's words, the practice of pilgrimage, the conscious and purposeful commitment to a journey. You've also come to know another powerful idea which comes alive in this extraordinary Jubilee Year of Mercy. For Pope Francis, our pilgrimage, our journey, is inseparable from our practice of mercy, the compassion that we show toward one another, especially those who are in need of our love and our care. As you go out into the world, as you embark on a new moment in your journey, may you always carry with you a sense of mercy, compassion, and love. You are now prepared for this work. You joined our community with an eagerness to engage ideas and cultivate your intellect, to forge your conscience, and to deepen your character. And now with this commencement, you begin another very special time in your lives. This is your time, and we are honored to share this moment with you and grateful for this opportunity to be together this evening. Congratulations to each and every one of you.
Thank you, President DeGioia. Now could I ask you please to stand for the singing of the Alma Mater, which is located in the back of the Commencement program book. Please remain standing for the benediction, which will be offered by Rabbi Rachel Gartner, Director for Jewish Life.
Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo salam aleina, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Our Jewish sages teach that God has 70 faces. Each one shines through a different culture and a different people, and without whom God's very countenance is incomplete. Our sages teach us, too, that God speaks in 70 languages, each one adding a richness and a nuance of meaning without which the fullness of God's message to humanity would be incomplete. With this in mind, let us pray. Dear God, you teach us, Baruch atah b'tzeitecha u'baruch atah b'voacha. Sean benditos en sus venidas y salidas. In the language of my dear Muslim sisters and brothers, Allahumma barik fi madchalina wa makhrajina. In all these languages, dear God, you assure us of this same thing. Blessed are you in your comings and goings, in your arrival and in your leave-takings. God, who we feel in the very dynamism of life, we are grateful for this remarkable day of endings and beginnings, and for each and every face of the divine with whom we share it. How complete, how full and grateful we feel today as we pause to take in one final time the glory of this moment. Bless us with simple gratitude and audacious joy, with true humility and unbridled delight. This is the day you have made for us. Let us rejoice fully in it. And at the same time, we know, dear God, our teacher, that a good education, like a good parent, should both uplift us and unsettle us. Indeed, as our graduates set forth on the many paths that lead out from these gates, may they be blessed with a restlessness to use the talents and skills they have learned here for the common good, so that all people everywhere one day may look at the life that they have and rejoice in it as we do in ours today. God, our source of hope, as today's graduates take their leave and enter this very uncertain world, may they do so with the radical faith that they can and will make a difference, that they can and will empower the world's tired and poor, huddled and homeless and tempest-tossed, so that they will indeed breathe free wherever they find themselves on this earth that belongs to none but you. As Dr. Martin Luther King taught us, we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. May we ever remember that what affects one of us directly affects all of us indirectly. So graduates, as you now go to diverse and distant places and walk the many paths that lead out from these gates, Rov brachot, elf mabruk, 1,000 blessings to you as you make your way in this world that so very much needs you. Od yavo shalom aleinu. One day, peace will come upon us. May you go in peace, and may you bring peace wherever you go. V'nomar, and let us say, Amen.
So will our guests please remain standing at their places until those on the stage and the graduates have recessed. Graduates should proceed to the ICC Galleria, where diplomas will be distributed until 8:30 p.m. So, that's it. The 2016 commencement exercises of Georgetown University School of Foreign Service are now officially closed.